Welcome to a short preview of this Screencasts Online video tutorial. Back in episode 721, Alison Sheridan covered MonoSnap, which is a terrific tool for capturing screenshots. And we've also covered Voila, now called Capto, and available as part of the Setapp subscription. But if you're not invested in either of these tools, macOS itself has some pretty nifty screen capturing utilities built in. So in this tip video, I'm going to show you some of the hidden capabilities of the macOS screen capture. Now I'll be showing you a lot of keyboard shortcuts, so I'd recommend viewing the tutorial first and then play it back and use the tutorial to try it for yourself. You'll see the keyboard shortcuts appear in the lower portion of the screen. Now there are lots of different options, different portions of the screen that you can capture. Let's start with the very basic one, which is Shift-Command-3. And when I do a Shift-Command-3, it's going to take a screenshot of the entire screen. If you have an external monitor attached, it will also take a screenshot of that as well. So I have two monitors here. I've got my MacBook monitor and an external monitor as well. So if I do Shift-Command-3, it will take two screen captures. And you'll see here on the desktop, I've got my external monitor. So if we just take a quick look of that using the spacebar, you'll see this is my ScreenFlow session and a Ulysses document here on my second monitor, and on my main monitor here, again spacebar for a quick look, I've got the menu bar, I've got my desktop, I've got the dock, which I've put down here as well, and I've also got the Safari window here. That's just a quick preview of one of this week's Apple-related tutorials from Screencasts Online. Screencasts Online is your premium source of Apple-related video tutorials. All of our members get access to brand new, up-to-date tutorials each week, as well as unlimited access to our entire video archive full of Mac and iOS related tutorials. You can stream and download all of our videos on your Mac, iPad and iPhone, and even your Apple TV using the members-only Screencasts Online Apple TV app. Membership also includes a complimentary subscription to the Digital Screencasts Online monthly magazine, published each month and packed with videos, articles, reviews, as well as hints and tips covering all aspects of the Mac, iPad, iPhone, and all of the other fantastic Apple products. So, if you're ready to start getting the most out of your Apple devices, visit ScreenCastsOnline.com today and become a Screencasts Online member.